Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. And if you'd like to join the panel, then there is actually a link to Discord now permanently, or at least within the 24-hour period that the show is live, in the info box below this video. So you can actually join the Discord server when this re-up goes out to the public. Now, we haven't actually started the live show yet, obviously, but I will pass over to the live panel so we can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever is in there. I think it's just Flatzoid. Hello, Flatzoid. Hello again.
Yeah, very lonely.
Very lonely, what, in the hangout? Yeah, there's nobody here. It's a bit unusual, actually. I sent out a message on Skype. I was like, is anybody actually going to join me today? 5 minutes before the show, one guest. At least there's you and I. Got some big news coming up. You excited? Clearly. If we've lost your mic, there'd normally be a load of background noise when you replied, but I didn't hear a word. No, your mic's buggered. Anyway, while you're sorting out your mic, Flatzoid. Hey, Travis, how you doing?
Hello, 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 what hello?
Hello. I was just about to say we've got some big news coming up. We're going to announce the most accurate flat Earth reification fallacy, model that the world has ever seen tomorrow. That'd be the 4th.
Tomorrow is that?
Yeah, 4th.
I was just about to ask. Yeah. So is that? It's an actual. You have an actual model, then you're saying, yeah?
The most accurate flat Earth model the world has ever seen.
I know there's more to it than that. Than what you're just saying.
Oh, there's so much more to it. It's very, very comprehensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
okay.
Spread the word. Official release will be tomorrow. We've made some hints of it during the last few debates. If you haven't been keeping up to date with the Flat Earth debate, then that's your issue.
Is it all going to be on your channel here? Or...
Absolutely. Exclusively to Nathan Oakley 1980. Although this channel that we're being listened to now on is actually Nathan Oakley, but nevertheless.
Great. Even though I believe the opposite, right? That models, we cannot have a model. But I'm thinking that it's not a model, or I don't know. I don't want to say
they're not proving anything. So models are pseudoscience, Spurs. So if you were to assert that your model proves something in reality, then that's a reification fallacy. We don't live in a model.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean that models aren't applied here, there, and everywhere, especially to prove fundamentalist religious beliefs in Sphere Earth. However, they don't prove anything.
I know they're all excited, going, "Oh, what's this about this model they've got? Is there a flat Earth model?" And I'm like, "We'll have to wait and see." But yeah,
absolutely,
yeah, that's good. Good.
So watch this space. 2 minutes and we'll be live.
Excellent.
Did you guys, did you make a teaser to put out?
No.
No? Okay.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, Chocolate. Running a daily show is useful for exactly that reason. You know, you can tease it on the show. I'm not going to generate extra work. I mean, come on. Do not think I work hard enough as it is.
What's 30 seconds, Nathan? 30-second teaser, man.
Oh yeah, that's what people think when they're moronic and assume that the amount of time it takes to watch a video is how long it took to create it. Even the live videos take considerably longer. So I typically set up at about 20 past. So it's about 40 minutes before the show I'm setting up. So typically on these pre-shows, you can hear me scurrying around and often away from the microphone, right? Well, that's 40 minutes on top of the live show every single day, and today it was 50 minutes because I knew there was a YouTube issue yesterday, which I'm sure some of you experienced, right? Yeah, Nathan, we all found it horrible. Yeah, me too. It was dreadful.
Yeah, Nathan, it was horrible.
It was terrible.
So yeah.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Spurs Chemo, Flatsoid and Chocolate Sayin. Very good to have you all.
Good morning.
Good morning. We've also got Travis and Right the Hand. Very good to have you both as well.
Hello, 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 hello.
Have we missed housekeeping, Nathan?
No, literally just started. Hello, Sleeping Warrior. I just want to check that we can hear Right the Hand in Discord. Can you hear us, Right the Hand? Presumably you can hear us.
Hello, sorry. Hello.
Hello, Spurs. Right, I've got nothing coming our way from Right the Hand. Hopefully we haven't got any issues with Discord, but we'll find out later. He's still on mute, so presumably he's away from his keyboard. Nevertheless, any signs of Earth curvature?
Yes.
Ooh, happy days.
Do you know what, Nathan? I went to watch the homecoming from Liverpool at the weekend yesterday, and I was watching the team bring the trophy back because it happens like it's a bit like an eclipse. It happens every now and again, where it passes right close to your town. And when as the people started gathering and it got more and more compact, it became apparent that I couldn't see as far as what I could when there were no people there. And obviously, all their head heights are all about the same as mine. You've got a couple of random ones that are a little bit taller in the way, but you can't see as far. And what I noticed was people started to climb buildings and get on top of lampposts and traffic signals just to be able to see further, because you were able to see further, but now you can't. And it just reminded me that this is like the waves. And I've now got obstruction at eye level, which is just like being close to the water. And I realized that because I couldn't see any further and I had to gain elevation to see further, that's the kind of obstruction that ball earthers would call is curvature. And what I realized was actually perspective, because I'm at the same height as the waves. And ballers just refuse to accept and acknowledge that this might be explained in full by perspective. But if there's curvature, it would need to be explained in full with perspective and curvature taken into consideration, which is why they've hijacked the curvature calculators. And on that point, there's another change to the curve calculators. We mentioned last week that Mick West had changed the curve calculator. He put in a line that said, and this is just nonsense, but Dr. John D sent me a message, and the line that was in red last week has changed this week. The message last week said, note, not accurate for horizon grazing observations over water, right? Whatever horizon grazing observations over water means, it implies that there's some kind of fodder. I don't know what horizon grazing observations are, but now it reads, note, not accurate for observations over water very close to the horizon. Well, he's got this standard refraction adjustment with this disclaimer that basically means that the standard refraction adjustment is not accurate or useful in any application whatsoever, and we shouldn't be using it because it's not accurate. So we should revert back to the geometric calculations that don't include standard refraction, because we know that this standard refraction is not accurate for observations over water very close to the horizon.
What's
Thanks
the horizon?
for that, Mick West.
Does he have a little asterisk next to the word horizon defining what that means?
Nobody should do, shouldn't he?
Well, yeah, given that it's an arbitrary imaginary position where the sky meets the ground, when in reality the sky doesn't meet the ground. That's for any normal person looking out into the distance. For a fundy zealot globehead, it's the leading edge of their sphere Earth they believe they live on. So it'd be interesting that he's saying that you can't measure the claimed obstruction of a sphere Earth, which is the horizon in their world. Very interesting. I'd like to know what horizon means to Mick West.
Yeah.
So Riley, you're saying there were you couldn't see at your stadium, not due to curvature, right? There wasn't any curvature at your stadium.
Correct. It wasn't at the stadium; it was in the streets. It was like there was just thousands and thousands of people all squashed onto the streets, and I realised I couldn't see where I could previously see before, and I realised that, do you know what? It's the same kind of obstruction that the ball Earth is claiming is curvature. When you get too low, and you've got obstructions in your foreground like waves. I mean, obviously the waves are not right in your foreground, but they do go further back, and then it becomes your horizon.
But that's
those
technically
waves
not
are an issue.
But
Gotta get
Riley,
my phone one sec.
right, I want to correct you on that. That's technically not obstruction, because that would suggest that something is physically in between the observer and the object being concealed. In actuality, it is concealment, a natural concealment effect. When looking past a flat plane, that's not entirely 100% clear what causes it, but it is absolutely there every time. So, concealment.
In the definition of concealment, it says the action of hiding something or preventing it from being known. Well, if you're hiding something, isn't that by implication the same as obstructing? In their definition, wouldn't you say that given their reification of a globe model that does actually obscure the thing in the distance, that obstruction for them is reasonable? For us, totally unreasonable. I agree with your point entirely.
No, concealment can just be it's taken away in some way. It's specifically taking it away, concealing it. Obstructing is very much obvious that there is something in the way.
Oh, there is actually a slight... There's an expansion underneath. It says something that acts as a hiding place, cover. Well, yeah, the limitation of an angular, an ability to resolve a given angle would act as though it's hiding something else. So actually concealment's the perfect word. I take it all back.
Yay! Yeah, it took some getting used to, but it is significant because there are obstructing effects, like the tidal bulge, which Ranty's been so elaborate on. That's really there. So there can be real physical obstruction, but there's always the concealment effect.
I understand. So what you're saying is the diffraction limit is a concealment of the lowest angle. However, the tidal bulge and waves is an obstruction of the thing in the distance. So there are two things at play. One is concealment due to limitation of angle. The other is obstruction due to something in the near foreground being bigger in angular size at a closer range.
Right. Although, look, there's this thing about this limited viewing angle. I'm not entirely sure that is the full scope of the effect.
It isn't. You're right. It's one part. When they say...
It's kind of one explanation that works really well, but it is obviously just a part of something bigger that's going on.
Correct. Well, when... the only time that I know of that's had it applicable to only apply the Rayleigh criterion was when Red Pill Philosophy did an observation on just basically a perfect day, crystal clear, no movement in the water and the same temperature of water and air. Just great, perfect conditions, and he saw what seemed like forever, but it still had the exact same effects you would have due to the limitation of your angle. That will always be in play. But in that instance, Life is Short didn't do he didn't need to do any further calculations. He could work out that there was still a limitation of the angle, but that's on a perfect day. So in most instances, absolutely, Arwin, it's one of many things. So when the globeheads say to us, what's the excuse today, and they reel off a whole great big long list, in reality, that long list is all applicable in some capacity at some stage. You just figure out what actually is at play and then apply what is appropriate. in their world, the sphere world, every single obstruction ever is caused by Earth curve. There's only one assertion their calculations make: Earth curve. So it doesn't matter what's at play. And even when they say it's taking into account the atmospheric refraction, no, it isn't. It's taking into account terrestrial refraction, which is 7/6r, a number and a begging the question fallacy. So all they ever do is assume R, curve, that's the cause, curve. So they've assumed their outcome, it's a begging the question fallacy, and it's the only asserted cause of anything disappearing into the distance ever. Earth curve. Doesn't matter what it is. But yeah, to back your point, yeah, it's not the sole cause. Quite frequently, it's probably the least to be taken into consideration. In the effective perspective, it's the arbiter of it. Everything gets smaller with distance, and there will be a limitation of angle as you push things further away. It's just a simple fact until it reaches the diffraction limit. But there's obviously things that you can see that aren't in the diffraction limit, therefore not applicable, right? Well, that's most of the time, if you can see something.
Well, there is something even more weird to it. And then it's like the zooming in on something in a very far distance. Because basically what the diffraction limit points at, what it comes down to, is resolution limit. But when you zoom in, something weird happens. It's almost like, yeah, the effect happens, but instead of literally the pixels, it's like regions are being like compacted in its entirety. So it's not like pixelar compaction, but like entire blocks with that can be seen in much more detail. Those are being compacted in its entirety, and I can't really explain that.
Well, you don't need to. I can give you something to
what's
search.
going on at that, but that is
can.
really how it's like. It seems like a pixel issue, but because of the zoom, somehow it entails much bigger regions with visuals.
So go to just Google search Aries discs and just have a look. And it's describing it in minutiae. Just Aries discs. Check it out. Pictorial examples of what you're describing. Perfect. Perfect. It's what you need. Aries discs. Check it out.
Yeah, I do remember it, but yeah.
Any other bits?
It's very surreal.
Any other signs of curvature? Should we move on? 10 minutes on one.
We're still housekeeping.
Yeah, that was the first question.
Oh, okay. Signs of curvature.
That's what we've just been talking about.
No, it's very hard to see signs of curvature except for when it's confirmed like a hill. Because, yeah, if you assume that things being obstructed in distance due to curvature, because it has to be, that just doesn't make any sense, because you get the same effect on confirmed flat surfaces. So
I'm glad you added the conclusion. Right, exactly. So you can replicate this all on flat surfaces, and the maths for the Rayleigh criterion is ignored when you assert that Earth curve is the obstruction. Nevertheless, let's move on. Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No.
Panel. Keen panel.
Nope.
No.
Mumble.
No.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Scientific evidence of what?
Gravity. Scientific evidence thereof.
Should that even be a question now, Nathan? If it's not a force?
If you want to claim gravity, which people will continue to do so, then provide us with scientific evidence for it.
Gravity is a conceptual framework based on the misinterpretation of aberrations within nature.
Watch this, Spurs. Is that scientific evidence, Arwin?
No.
Excellent.
As I said, it's a conceptual framework. It doesn't fall into the array of science.
Now he immediately reverted to repeating his assertion. So not scientific evidence then?
Nope.
Just try and remember that term, Spurs. There is no scientific evidence for gravity. End of statement.
Right. But you do know the born earthers do say it's not needed. This method, that we follow.
Yeah, they don't need it.
What do you mean? How can they not need it?
Needed for what?
They got their story time. They don't need it anymore.
Let me just get some clarity from Spurs. Needed for what? It's not needed for what? It has a specific purpose.
No, I know, but they're saying that Well, what are they doing? They say they can measure it. There's something they can measure, right?
You're going off track and telling me about what they do with gravity. You've made
no,
very...
no, hold on. So we're looking for science for gravity, but is science needed for gravity?
You're trying to immediately invoke a cause. So yeah, what causes the mic to drop? You say, deGrasse Tyson. Gravity causes it, does it? Oh, that's interesting. We have a very firmly established method, Mr. Pseudoscience, for establishing cause. You know what that method's called? The scientific method. It establishes the cause of an effect. So immediately they invoke a cause, don't they, Spurs? So I'm going to demand scientific evidence if they're going to assert a cause.
No, how to say? Well, I mean, I'm not arguing from the science perspective. They're saying that there's this thing that uses measurements. So they're measuring the speed. They're measuring the effects of something. Now, I think how they understand science is science needed for this effect?
It is if you're going to claim
it's needed.
There is no measurement.
It's
You
needed.
can't measure
Hold on.
gravity. You can
Spurs
only
is,
do-
look, hold on. It's hard for Spurs,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Spurs doesn't take this position, and he's trying to paraphrase the doublespeak he's been fed in opposition to this. Just give him a chance to get it out.
It's very difficult.
Exactly, it's very hard. That's why
No
I'm trying to stop
mercy.
everyone. That's why I'm trying to stop him from rumpusing you, because you're trying to paraphrase the doublespeak as you've understood it when it's not understandable in the first instance. But yeah, try.
Yeah, but
try
look,
and-
I mean, look. Okay, so there are many methods. Yes, there's not just the one method to know something. Okay, if I want to know how tall I am, Nathan, do I need science? If I want to know my shoe size, Nathan, do I need science? No. So to know things, yes, science is not always needed. I think this is what they mean. So when gravity, or they say gravity, or whatever you call it, they're saying that they.
Hold on. Stop a second. I just want to take one claim at a time. So you've said that you don't need science to, well, let's paraphrase, measure something. So, Spurs, let's run a tape measure down our shoes. And given that, what do you put? Don't say the word, but we're going to both have the same measurement. We're just going to know telepathically now that given that shoes go on a certain body part, how big we're both going to say our shoe size is. Okay? So, what's your shoe size?
Yeah, let's just go with my height. Let's just, say 6
no.
foot, yeah?
You've said you don't need science to measure something. And now I'm taking you by the hand and going, okay, let's measure something. So, we're going to do that first to establish a baseline. Make it sound scientific. Yeah? So, you're going to measure your shoe, and it's on a particular body part. There's a clue to what I'm hoping you'll say.
Yeah, a foot. Yeah.
Oh, it's 1 foot, you say.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
1 foot.
Oh, well, that doesn't match my measurement. Mine's in centimetres. That's a bit of a problem, isn't it? So we have these two arbitrary numbering systems applied to this concept that we're going to apply, and we've got it wrong already. That doesn't sound very empirical, these arbitrary concepts that we've applied to numbers that we've given to concepts. Does it, Spurs?
No. I mean, I agree, yeah.
Science, on the other hand, Spurs, definitively establishes cause and effect relationships by invalidating a null hypothesis when you confirm an alternative, validating the cause. So unlike these arbitrary concepts that we can apply to things when we run bits of string and metal up our feet, science, on the other hand, is an empirical method. Very useful if you want to absolutely assert you have a cause of something. And in the case of gravity, they are invoking a cause. Not a measurement, a cause.
I know what you're saying. Okay, let's try to look at it another way. Okay, so let's say we have a body. Now, if we don't know the cause of death, but the coroner or somebody will still be able to do their job on that body, even though they don't know the cause of death. Or they should be able to, repair the body, or as long as they know about bodies, or something like this. So as long as you know about forces, I would say, or
right,
they might say.
what you're saying is someone dies, you don't know the cause. Can you then look at the body and figure out what's going on? Well, let's say they died of type 2 diabetes. Do you think poking around and cutting up the kidneys is going to tell you that cause, being insulin insufficiency, would be established through cutting and scraping and looking? What do you think? Or do you think varying and hold on. Or do you think maybe varying and manipulating a presumed cause and effect, insulin in this case, might give you a definitive cause of an effect?
No, but I'm saying if the person's not looking for the cause, like their job is not to look for the cause of death, they have another job. They deal with bodies, dead bodies, but they don't look for the cause. They have another job because they know the anatomy.
That's precisely what a coroner does. At the end of his job, he writes down cause of death.
No, I know. I'm just trying to think of where someone would they don't need to know the cause, but they can still operate in their field. So they don't need the cause of something, but they can still work.
Okay.
And I think this is how they see it. They're saying that we understand forces or something, so we work with forces, and so we don't need to know the cause of this force. Just bring us the force.
Who are they talking about? Who is working? I mean, in terms of this force and where it's applicable, we're talking about astrophysicists, aren't we? Bending of space-time, right? Yeah. Well, this is astrophysicists' realm. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So when they tell you that they are working with forces of the universe, they're not varying and manipulating anything. But they claim to be science, don't they, Spurs?
Yeah, but I think now they're backing away from that. I think now they're realising, okay, so we're not scientists. We are...
So, oh, no worries. They definitely say they're science, though, don't they?
Yeah.
The ones who say
I think that's changing, though. That's changing.
Let me give you a quote. Science is right whether you like it or not. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Astrophysicist who tells you what the world is, and in this instance, is the arbiter of gravitational attraction, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so we've got people claiming that they're science, who are absolutely not science. That sits them in one category. Pseudoscience. So pseudoscience says we've got a conceptual medium, space-time. You want to show me that, globeheads? And apparently we can bend said conceptual medium. So if I'm going to accept that, I'm going to want to see it.
Yeah, but again, I'm just trying to look at how they would be looking at it, and I think science has been thrown around so much that everybody seems to think that they're a scientist. But now, I think they're more into mathematics. So, is mathematics science? No. So, I think that they think we have the numbers, the equations work. So, for example, I don't know if it's housekeeping. I asked you before about the distance to the moon. So, distance to the moon is not science in their mind. This is how I was described, that they have the distance to the moon. So, one guy takes a photograph of the moon, and then they have another observer who takes another photograph of the moon, and then they calculate the distance between the two observers. And then they would calculate the height, triangulate, make triangle and things like that, and figure out the height. Now, is that science? That's not science, is it? So their model, I think, is not one of science. Everything in the model is not of science. I know you're saying it is. But I think now we're talking about it, I think they're realizing it's not science. It's math. It's maths. So things like gravity.
What model, Spurs?
They can say gravity is not a force because the equations tell them this. So I don't, So I don't know. Do you understand what I mean here? They are realizing they don't have science. It's not science. It's more mathematical.
I couldn't care less. If they're going to assert a cause, they better prove it with science, especially when they claim to be scientists, Spurs. And the fact remains that they can't. That's all there is to it. Now, if you want to dance around that for eternity, because you can't prove causation, but you definitely want to assert it, then that's your problem, not yours, Spurs. You understand?
Yeah.
You know, that's not your problem, mate. Just say, okay, well, you can keep your maths. If I've got 5 ice creams, right, Anthony?
Yeah, I was. You know what? In the context of Newtonian principles for gravity and how Einstein superseded it, and the ballers say, well, just because he superseded it doesn't mean that you dismiss one with the other. And some dopey good bugger called Sean Hawkins said, yeah, power steering didn't replace steering, it added to it. Let's put the context into perspective here. 2 plus 2 equals 4, but 1 plus 3 also equals 4. If 1 plus 3 equals 4 replaced 2 plus 2 equals 4, just because the maths works out for the other one doesn't mean that it's the same. So even though the maths works out, it's been superseded. So 2 plus 2 used to equal 4, but we don't use it anymore. We now use 1 plus 3 equals 4 instead. You can't use 2 plus 2 anymore. So you can't use Newtonian. That means you can't have the force. It's not the same as saying power steering, refined steering, because that would mean using the two of them together. So let's not do that. Let's do what science says and replace, supersede, swap. Let's not refine, support, encourage. It's not the same kind of words. Let's get these meanings of words right, because you ballers are being dishonest.
But Anthony, they want to know, okay, these numbers, these equations work with buildings, bridges, you know, anything that they want to design. They say it works. So they want to know, well, why can't this work with other celestial bodies or anything that's in the sky? You know, they're saying it works here on Earth, but you're saying that we can't use it out there. But that's the problem, I think.
All right, so false equivalence. Yeah, we've got pseudo-Riemannian 4-space, length, breadth, depth, and time, and Euclidean 3-space. They're not mathematically derived from one another. They're entirely different mathematical structures. So no, it's not like adding a electronic motor to a steering column to make it more assisted. That would be adding to. Yes, that's a good example of adding to. However, the automatic choke absolutely superseded the manual choke, didn't it? We don't have manual chokes because they've been superseded. There's not an additional pulley choke thing in modern cars because it just added to the pulley manual choke that you had to yank out when your car was cold. No, no, no. It superseded it.
Yeah.
So clearly, yeah, this man has absolutely no idea about cars.
No, I think that there's two.
No, nobody laughed. Oh well.
No, I think there's two understandings that are being. They've confused them, and then now we're confusing them by. I don't know, you know, because if we label them scientists, like, or they have science, then they still think they have science. You know, like we would say, well, why discuss Narnia if it doesn't even exist? So we're labeling them something when they're not even scientists. They're not even proposing to do science. You know, trying to get them to find the cause of something is never going to happen. So for me, this is not science. So this is what I'm trying to say. Is it even a question of science now? They understand it through mathematics. So their model works through mathematics.
Doesn't matter.
So they can't get away from that. When they ask us to debunk the model, okay, what I'm understanding is that they want an equation. They want an equation for that refutes their model. You see?
Crap what they want. Who cares? They're the ones making the assertion, Spurs. Number one, what model are they showing you when they're asking you to debunk a model, a reification fallacy of the world we live in, with an equation? Do you want to explain that to me? What are they showing you?
They're showing me mathematics.
No, that's not. Well, is that a model? Do we live in a mathematical formula? What kind of world do you live in? I'm talking about the physical and natural world. That falls into science. Natural science, it's called. Look it up. Right.
Oh, yeah, well, I agree, but I'm saying
look at the definition of mathematics and see if it involves anything to do with the physical and natural world. Then type in physical and natural world and see what comes up. And I assure you, it won't be mathematics. It'll be science. Hey,
how do you
Warren,
how do you tell them that though? This is what I'm trying to say.
It doesn't matter if you're trying to deal with brain dead lost souls with a religious belief, Spurs. That's not your problem.
It's not. It's traumatic. It's hard. I mean, we've got to see that these people have been lied to
Oh, these
from the
poor
day they were
people.
born.
Yeah, Mr. Therapist.
Oh,
From the
my
day they
heart
were
goes
born,
out.
they had
should
no
we-
chance.
Hold on,
Get it,
Spurs.
Mr.
We've all got-
Therapist, but you're too soon.
We all need to get a candle and light it right now for our lost brother, Curved Water. Kumbaya, my lord.
They were innocent.
Kumbaya,
They were
oh
snatched away.
Lord.
Okay,
Kumbaya.
Radius Sanctus.
Why aren't you
Spiritus
joining me in
Nomen.
vigil for our lost brother, Curved Water?
Well, I think they're on the return because, like I said, a lot of them are on 99%, which for me is a tremendous leap. Okay, for people who knew 100% that they were on a spinning board, we whittle them down. Okay, now and again, like I say, this question of science.
Hold on, I've got a new guest. Hello, Elia. Is that how you say your name?
Elijah.
Elijah.
Oh my God. Hello.
Hello. Warm welcome to you. Good intro.
Thank you.
So where are you at? Where are you
So
at?
what have you heard that you didn't like, Elijah?
Say again.
Have you heard anything that you didn't like, or have you heard that you agree with?
I literally woke up like I probably opened my eyes 2 minutes ago and I said, oh shit. Oh, excuse my cursing. I said, Nathan Oakley's on. I've been trying to get on this show for maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 months since I've been watching. And so I'm a huge fan. But you guys can carry on. I literally just woke up and I literally tried joining because I got a new phone and I was like, maybe that's what it is. And it was. So here I am.
Excellent. Very pleased
Welcome
to have
to
you.
the show.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So, yeah, I suppose this isn't your issue. You know, if you're dealing with fundies, just have to accept that they're going to remain fundies.
Fundies shall be fundies.
What's up, Elijah?
Where there's will, where there's
What's up,
will.
Chocolate?
Sorry, go ahead.
Nah, chilling, man. Just want to welcome you. See
Thank
in the
you.
chat. Yep.
Yeah, I've been trying. It's funny. I mean, I've been hit up by a couple people too. Ran into Mick West. I've been Globe explained by Walter Bislin. I've been in a few flat Earth groups. So yeah, man, things seem to really be shifting in terms of how the conversations are going on. I know that everything that Spurs is talking about right now, that's where everyone's at. I know Anthony was at the same place too. Like, we're all really frustrated with trying to understand and figure out why globe earthers don't understand what we're seeing. And I really got to a point where I had to step back and wonder why I was getting all that energy. And I realized that when I talk to them differently, they accept the information differently. They really do. But
you got to give us more than that. Hold on.
I haven't found that they accept it at all. I mean, I've had it literally in their face where it's...
We've got to get some more info than that. How did you change the presentation of your information to get them to... I don't know, if you're going to say they accepted it, we'll find out, I guess.
Sure. Okay, so first of all, I'm pretty much cut and dry. So when I saw this show, I was like, yeah, truth is truth. I don't care, how you feel. This is what it is. Accept it. People, they'll go down fighting if you come at them like that. But I've had guys like, start with the ad hom attacks, and I've just stuck to just speaking as humbly as I can. And the other globe earthers will see that interaction and then they'll say, well, that's really ridiculous. And so a lot of them are saying, Elijah's the only flat earther that seems like he's smart. I don't know why he's a flat earther, but he seems very smart. He doesn't get into confrontations with everybody. And just seeing that it's like, wow, and then they just had a post the other day, and it's like 4 or 5 of them that tagged me for asking, have you noticed that there are any, downright good flat earthers? And that post was like kind of centered around me. So I'm like, this really is making some kind of difference. It's not going to change the people that I think Spurs wants to change. Sorry to throw you in there like that, but there's a certain kind of person like Craig. They don't want to see it. You can't change those people. It's the people that see your interactions with people like Greg that will make the difference.
Well said. Yeah, the zealots, we can't change them. Their mind is made up. Their path is set. But the general public, yeah, they could be all over the place. And by setting the right example, that we can be very critically thinking and very honorable and persevere under great pressure and great, just maniacal behavior and crazy stuff. And we sometimes let ourselves go at times because we're only human. You can only take so much at times. But by giving an example of how to be a decent human being and still entertain flat Earth and go with that, that's how we really get the doubters, the side standers, over the line. That's important because now the Globers are using the majority.
Hey, physics.
Yeah. So, we as a flat earthers have still got a lot to discover. Our heads will still be blown just as much as when we first discovered the flat Earth. We have a dome, a possible dome to discover. Some believe there's no dome. Some believe there is a dome. There's a wall to discover. So if we see a dome, we still have to get our heads around the wall, what's over the wall, how it works, how all of these things. So this is we will still be experiencing a particular type of trauma as flat earthers because we still have to accept. Well, if there is a dome, well, what's above the dome? If there is something, if there is a container, what's beyond that? And well, how does it work? We still have those questions. So the ball earthers, the most hard-headed ones are going to be traumatized the most. So I think a lot of work needs to be done with these people. I don't think they're just lying. I think that they're indoctrinated. That's the difference.
Well, that's why
it takes an immense amount of patience because Arwen was very right the other day when you guys were like 5 + 5 is 20 to Glover. So you kind of have to give them 15 and then walk them back to 12 and then 10 because, for instance, like when it was maybe a month ago when I came out to like I would call it a normie group, like people that don't really discuss what the shape of the earth is at all. And I was like, guys, space is fake. And I got to that conclusion from listening to you guys. I was already there, but I wasn't ready to just jump out and, be like, hey, I'm a flat earther, F your religion, until I started listening to this show. So it's just, when I said space is fake, even though I know what I mean, that's like a real nuke to someone who's never thought about it before. You kind of can't approach it like that, even though it's true.
It sounds insane to somebody who takes it for granted all their life. If you just bluntly hit them over the head with it.
Well, you get them to answer the question. That's why we have housekeeping. Hopefully people will adopt these questions. So yesterday when YouTube messed up, I went to live streams to see if anybody was live streaming. It was just me with an issue, and there's Simon Dan, who typically I don't watch, but it was more an excuse for this, is because I was testing to see if YouTube worked. And I go in, and I kid you not, within about 25 seconds of being in there, typing in the chat, by the time I'd finished typing the sentence, does this chat feed work? Do you have problems with YouTube? My name mentioned. And the reason it got mentioned, mine and Quantum Eraser's name, was because they were talking about, hey, right the hand, they were talking about gas pressure without a container, one of the housekeeping questions. So Nathan Thompson had presumably, just before I tuned in, asked that question, and it's put them right out of, put Conspiracy Cat's nose right out of joint. You know, because unfortunately, I don't know, because I tuned out very rapidly afterwards when I found out it was broken, but could have just quoted Conspiracy Cats himself. Without the container, there can be no pressure. But there's a reason for the phraseology of the questions that are asked during housekeeping, which is to say, is there any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container? And if you put that to a globe head, and then they come to the conclusion with a few examples of, I don't know, a gas canister or shaving foam can or whatever you like, a tyre, they go, no, well, of course, you've got to have something to press on. You know, you can't have tyre pressure without a tyre. Oh, right. Then you stare at the sky very casually and go, oh, yeah, so that's a vacuum, eh? And hopefully the penny will drop for them of their own volition. Same with any of the housekeeping.
This is what I don't understand now then. So I'm trying to understand something. So what's the idea? Are we saying that we speak to a ball earther, he doesn't agree, we leave him alone, we go to the next one, he doesn't agree, he agrees. So is the mindset that there will be 50-50? Do we think that, oh, we'll get...
The point was you have to build up to it.
Hold on, Arwin. Let him get to the end of his... At least let him get to the end of his question.
Just want to get a point across. So I'm trying to think of, like, the idea. So, you know, if I'm sitting there with Ball Earther trying to convince them of something that you think they'll never believe or, you know, come around to. So what's the idea? Is the idea that we'll get half the population, we'll get, you know, a good 50, 60, 70% of the people, or do we just, you know, do we stay in one place repeating, you know, we've been lied to, this is why, or you should come forward? You know, so again, if the ball earthers don't come forward and then they just stay in their position, is the idea just leave them to their... I don't seem to understand. With the idea, I thought was to
leave them to it, so long as they...
You can't convince somebody who does not want to be convinced.
If they have a belief... You're saying, are we trying to convince them to believe? No. Believe whatever you like. Don't care. If you want to believe that Santa Claus is real, you believe it. It's all more power to you. If you want to believe that you live on a spinning ball for reasons, then you're more power to you. You can believe whatever you like. It's not for us to stop people in their beliefs. But you can point out some of the obvious things that we don't believe in. We're talking about laws of nature when we talk about entropy. So... it's not a belief I hold that gas pressure needs something to press on. That's a fact of life. Now, you don't have to like that if you've got a fundamentalist belief in a sky vacuum that NASA call outer space. That's your problem.
Yeah, but how does that help us? How does that help society? How does it help us move forward? If one or two of us have to believe, let's say there's 1 million flat earthers, and we stay with this mindset, and the rest of the world carries on saying, well, you know, we just refuse to believe. We want to have this belief, and we're just going to go with it.
Again, talking about belief.
No, but the point is that you're saying that if people just want to carry on with their beliefs, like let them have their beliefs.
Yes.
And I'm saying the point is no. The point is not to let people have these beliefs.
Oh, so
excuse me.
One second.
Hold on.
It's just
that's crazy. That's crazy. That's
persecution.
Well, Spurs, look. Here's the thing.
You can't force people's beliefs, Spurs schemo.
But why would we tell people if we're not interested in changing the way people see the world? Right?
The truth is
Spurs.
Let me just get this out.
We're not addressing that group.
Look, everyone's decided that they're going to answer Spurs. Can I just have a two-way conversation with Spurs? Because otherwise, there's 5 people trying to answer him. Spurs, the truth is the truth. Now, whether or not you believe something different is your problem. How does it help us? What, flat earthers? Well, we can, for the people who want to accept the truth, reality, then they will. But for those who don't, those are the ones you're concerned with exclusively. That, my friend, is actually your Spurs' problem.
Well, I don't see why we're planting seeds then, because we already know how people feel about the shape of the Earth, and you know they decided to go with the consensus because it's safer.
Now you've used the word "feel." I don't care how they feel about it. Now I understand Elijah and yourself if you take a different approach and say, "I want to spare these people their feelings. It's very traumatic." Me, I'll take a dump on your religion and then laugh at you if you don't accept it.
Oh yeah, there's a place for both things. But Spurs, you said, well, is it 50-50 or consider this. You have to be aware enough to know who you can and who you can't talk to. I know immediately who I can't talk to when they start off with the ad hom attacks, when they're all these silly things that they say when they want to just ram a question down your throat, not knowing how fallacious it is, even though you kindly try to point it out to them. All you need is 2 to 5 minutes to know that that's not the person. There's loads of other people that would like to listen to you. Just focus on those people, the people that you're trying to get. Those people aren't gettable, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other people lurking in the shadows who are interested. You're just focusing on the people that will never ever change. But
there's a scene in The Matrix where the main character Morpheus walks the other main character Neo down a street that he's taken him into when he's in the Matrix, and he explains to Neo that all of the people that he sees are part of the system, and if you try and break them free, they'll not only reject what you tell them, they'll fight tooth and nail to stay part of the system. But this is the people you're dealing with. You're dealing with the people who are so assimilated with the system that they cannot, under any circumstances, let it go. It will destroy them. If you want a telling interview, go and watch Conspiracy Cat's interviewed by Haunted House, when he pours his heart out about his fears that if he finds out that what we say is just simple fact of life reality, he might have to contemplate the fact that there's other lies in his life, that it all could be a massive lie. Well, he doesn't want to have to contemplate the reality that he's been lied to on a massive scale. He'd rather get on life and fight us. So he's one of those people in the Matrix that's going to fight tooth and nail to protect the system that's indoctrinated them. It's called Stockholm Syndrome.
Blue pill.
Couldn't have used a better analogy. I mean, that's exactly what it is. Some people hear this subject and the Agent Smith literally comes out of them. I've seen it. I'm serious. I mean, I've seen it. When people get so agitated by the very fact that the subject is being discussed, that it's literally like somebody else comes out of them, that comes out to defend it by all means. And then at that point, you say, okay, well, I've dropped the information on you. Do with it as you will. Some people are ready for this. Some people are not. Some people will never be ready to hear this. Some people will never contemplate it at all, willingly, because they don't want to. Those people, you leave them alone. You don't. It's not your job to force people to look into this. Now, at the same time, if that information is dropped, you drop a little seed on them, and then maybe, who knows, maybe a month later, 2 months later, something will snap and they'll maybe start to question it. Who knows? But that's not up to you.
Can I just ask Spurs a quick question? Then there's a big announcement that John and myself are going to make for tomorrow's show. So Spurs, you're asking about what's in it for us. Well, I'm going to ask you that question. What's in it for you, converting zealots?
Well, no, we're living in a society where we're being lied to. Yeah, everyone's lying. Yeah, and people are believing a lie. It's not just a belief, is it? It's a lie. So the idea is what you're doing, what we're doing, what I'm doing is to get people to understand that they've been lied to. Okay, so we don't want to. I feel. Why would you want someone just believing a lie and just leave them to just believe a lie? Right? I think. What me personally, I feel I have to do everything I can to show them that they are believing a lie. Right? And I think there are ways to do that. I think there are ways to show somebody that, even if they are because everybody has a price, everybody wants something, and that's the same for the ball earthers. If you can
okay, I get you. You've ignored my question entirely. I'll say it again slower. What's in it for you?
I feel it's duty, like I just said. There's nothing. There's no gain. I don't see any. When you say in it for me, it's just the lie. I feel offended by the lie, so I feel that there's a duty, nothing other than just a duty within. I don't know where it comes from. Yeah.
Spurs, how did you find out Flat Earth? Did you find out Flat Earth by yourself or through an algorithm?
It was a very long time. I was looking into other conspiracies, and it was just mentioned to me. I looked into it. Doubted it, of course, and just went on that quest. So yeah, it was just brought to my attention. Yeah,
I have something to add when I get a chance.
Okay, well, I just want to finish this up. My point is that Spurs, I know that you're a crusader for the Flat Earth community. You have this much information, and Nathan is saying, as far as you're going to be or engaging with the zealots. So what is it to you to engage with the zealots? Are you there to convince the zealots, or are you to
Oh no, 'cause yeah, just to show that they've been lied to. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I say, you call them zealots. I mean, like I say, I see it differently. These are just people who have been lied to.
No. But some of them are zealots. All of us have been lied to, but some of them are zealots. I don't care about those.
Yeah, but even they can't prove the ball, can they? So
no.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter who. If they're an agent, if they're an actor, if they're a shield, to me, it doesn't matter. They are in the same position as everybody else. They cannot prove. So, you know, by their fruits, by what they say, we'll be able to show. And to me, they're very useful for the public as well, because, you know, you would have a ball earth and you would, like, you know, a guy who believes the lie and say, okay, demonstrate what you believe to somebody who's on the fence. And, you know, this for me would show that, okay, this person believes the lie. So for me, they have a use, not just, you know, these people who are just against what, you know, what we say. So,
well, something I saw the other day was very interesting because, like you, like me, like Anthony, it seems like we're kind of, sort of in the same headspace. And I was on YouTube watching my regular Flat Earth stuff, and I let it run in the autoplay, and it run me right into Star Talk. And Neil deGrasse Tyson is debunking flat Earth by explaining a cracker, not really a cracker, but whatever square thing inside the heliocentric model. That's the problem right there. We're arguing for we're talking two different things, because when people are arguing against us, they're arguing against the pizza in the heliocentric model, which all of us would think is ridiculous. But they don't know that, and we don't know that we're arguing from that position either. Meanwhile, this is what mainstream is pushing out week after week. NASA just said that we were going to the moon in the next 4 years. This is the stuff that they're hearing every day, which is why we keep having these arguments every day. That's why. Not that people aren't learning. The new people keep getting bombarded with all of this stuff, and they don't see the stuff that Nathan is doing or any of you guys are doing, because all of that stuff is censored. So that's why we keep running into these arguments, because they're constantly getting bombarded.
On that note, definitely share the show. Smash that share button. Sharing is caring. And all that stuff. Are you there, John? I'm hoping we can do a little announcement.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So, drum roll. Big news, everybody. So, on Tuesday, the 4th of June, 2019, on this channel, that's Nathan Oakley 1980, we will be unveiling to the world the most accurate and comprehensive flat Earth reification model that the world has ever seen.
Amen.
Oh,
nice.
Can we ask questions, or we should wait till tomorrow?
No questions. Wait till tomorrow.
Wait till tomorrow. Oh, okay. Excited.
But build up suspense. Hello? Please spread the word far and wide.
Hello. Can y'all hear me?
We all hear you. Whoever that was.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
I'm still very off put by the thought of a model. I mean, because at this point, I'm like, oh, models, geez. But that's kind of what they need. It's kind of what they need.
All right, proves nothing. But nevertheless, we've got it to offer, so we're going to present it.
Nice.
It's not
to answer Spurs' question of why we do this. Like, Spurs, have you ever like planted seeds, like tomato seeds or any other type of seed?
Yes, of course.
Do they all sprout?
Not all at the same time.
But I'm saying, do you get 100% germination rate?
No, my sunflowers only got 6.
But you plant them anyway, right?
Right.
Okay, there you go. So let's not waste. I feel like we waste so much time trying to talk about why we should be coddling the ballers when we should just present the arguments, plant the seeds. If they want to accept the arguments, which are truth, then they can. If they don't, they deny reality, which they're not doing, which in their mind, it's a subconscious. They know it. Everybody knows the truth, okay? It's just a matter of like you justify certain things to yourself, you know, and it's on levels. Like we've all done stupid shit, you know, like we've stolen some, oh, well, Walmart has a ton of money. It's that same exact like justification. They just use it on a bigger scale.
Right. But well, you know, for me, this information needs to get to what I would call the movers and shakers, because, you know, we want the truth. So we need this sponsored, funded, whatever it needs to be done to have an exploration of some kind. You know, this obviously can't go on. It probably will go on, but you know, the idea is to get the lie removed. How do we do that? Just planting seeds or activism?
Just by telling the truth, stating the obvious.
Bingo. You cancel out a lie with the truth. So
Right.
if they're presenting a lie, you negate it with the truth.
There was something else that John said in terms of, I can't remember how you phrased it, John, but you said something like, by highlighting the truth, you also highlight the preposterous nature of the lie. I can't remember how you phrased it. It was a lot more eloquent than that.
It's too early, man.
That was beautiful. That's going to go on a plaque.
Yeah, well, you need it. It was to the effect that you need a lie. You need the opposite or the antithesis, or like a canvas to paint your picture, right? You always need the juxtaposition to learn the best. You know, you learn the best juxtaposing the truth with a lie, right? Sort of that vein.
Gotcha. Yes.
And another way that I kind of see it, last point, the globe Earth has never been proven with evidence or proof. It's been psychological. So it's always been, people have been bombarded with propaganda and, you know, just psychological warfare. So that's how I see it. That has to be reversed with psychology. And we could present evidence, even if, I mean, they see flat planes. I mean, they see high altitude balloons. They see a flat plane.
I don't know.
Yet they deny it because it's in the mind. Yes,
Yeah,
they think when they fly in an aeroplane, they see curvature. Right?
I don't think there'd need to be any. I don't think there'd need to be any reversal of the programming. So, in order to make the programming stay in the first instance, they have to constantly reaffirm the lie. That's why you get pictures of globes everywhere, and it's in the beginning of every movie. It's predictive programming, but it's done in the respect that it's already the current paradigm. So they're not trying to convince us of something that's happening in the future, just a lie that's current in the respect to the globe. So I think before we start exploring something that people are arguing about when it's obviously and observably flat, the first thing that you actually would need to do is just dismiss all of the current predictive programming that's out there, all of the, you know, the reification fallacy models and globes that are constantly presented to us on an almost daily basis. So that would be the first step, I would say, rather than exploration. While I've got a lot of admiration to anybody who wants to do that, if there's a lie about what you're exploring and the nature of your reality, it should be set in stone before you start exploring it, in my opinion. But with that, I will say, if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, unfortunately, this is where we bid you farewell. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you tuned in. Also, of course, a massive thank you to all of the Discord and Google Plus Hangouts on Air debating panels for making this show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum at nathanoakley.com, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Early.
Yeah, or you can add me on Google Hangouts as well in the chat there. And we're not live anymore, no? We're off.
No, not live anymore. Still recording, though. Always bear in mind.
Yes, always assume Nathan's recording you.
So, yeah, I mean, for me, it doesn't matter what you present, evidence-wise. You could show them... We've shown them flat planes. We can see it's observably flat. We could say that till we're blue in the face. To them...
Right. Spurs, you're right. No matter what evidence you show them, they will dismiss it. I had what's his name, Farmer's Boy, He was bad-mouthing me on Jose's channel, and he made 4 statements that I presented evidence to prove that they were incorrect, and he still wouldn't accept it, and he wouldn't apologize or retract.
Right. So it's psychological.
I'm sorry, I'm getting kicked.
Who?
What do you mean you're getting kicked?
It's just, don't worry, that'll just be a phone issue. Occasionally, if you're on a mobile device, the network kicks random people. Just happens to the best of us.
I gotta say this. I was listening to Jose talk on very early flat Earth debate videos, and there is no way somebody who was saying what he was saying, the way he can say it, could then go back to thinking the Earth is a ball. I would guarantee Jose is playing being a baller. Guarantee it.
Right, that's very weird. I thought he came back to the flat Earth side. I didn't realize what the toe tags were.
No, dude, he was making arguments the way Nathan made them on flat Earth debate, like 250, just crushing ballers, like ridiculous. And I was like, is that the same Jose? And then and now you could, well, I can't see it, so it must be a curve. It sounds so Joe Rogan-ish, like when Joe Rogan would crush the moon landing. Like, how did they do this? Name like 50 things, logic in a coherent statement. Then like 4 years later, they're like, hey, what do you think of the moon landing? He's like, well, I don't know. It could be real. And you're just like, dude, how did you go from
exactly how I thought about it, bro. That's one of the reasons why me and Jose kind of had it out on the show one day, because I was just like, no, I refuse to believe that you're just going back just cause. Obviously, there's other things going on, but bro, you know these arguments. You know there's no proof of the crap that you want to believe in now. So I don't understand. But hey, everybody's got their thing. Everybody's got their, their motivations or whatever. So if it makes them happy, go for it. But
guys, there was. So I've been dying to get on the show for one specific reason, and I almost forgot. There's a show that you did a couple of months back where there was a guy on the show, and he screen shared, and what he was showing was him on the plane and the quote unquote Twilight Zone. That is the most damning evidence I've seen to date, especially when people are like, oh, light, it goes around the entire globe and it's spotlight effect. How could that be possible?
You're talking about MG42 pillbox.
Correct.
How do I find that? Please, I've been looking.
You'll just scribble it down, MG42, and then pillbox, but all one word. That's how you'll find him. But I'll dig out the debate and I might replay it or something, because it was a very good episode. It's something that, like you say, I'd seen that so many times from being on planes and looking out the windows. Now, in his video, do you see all the people asleep, headphones on, looking at the back of their headrest, just like I described it, right? Whereas he's there with his camcorder looking out the window going, wow, isn't it amazing? And flying is amazing. If you've never flown, fly. It's just, even if you just do it for the sake of it. People used to do it in suits and get dressed up for it because it's a posh affair. Now, yeah, that mystique might have gone a little bit by the heavy commercialisation of it. It doesn't change the magic of what flying actually is. It's amazing. And you can see stuff like that all the time.
That video should be easy to find because everything is categorized almost OCD-like, so it should take you less than 30 seconds. Hashtag same team.
Yeah, okay. What is it at the moment? It's the time of year we're all throwing each other under the bus, right? Is that a little... just a little snip at each other here and there.
So who came up with this model, John? You, yourself?
Sponsored by Google.
Google.
I played the fifth.
Spurs, if you were keeping up to date with the flat Earth debate, you would have an inkling as to what he's talking about.
Ah, yes, he would, wouldn't he?
Subscribe today to keep up to date with the flat Earth debate. If you're watching this, you're watching on the second channel. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the flat Earth debate. This won't go out till technically tomorrow, this particular part of the show. So we might as well discuss it with Spurs. We're not live anymore.
Okay, good.
What time will it go out tomorrow?
This particular part will go out at about midnight, just after.
You got to convert that to U.S. time, man.
Your time, it'll go out at... I don't know. I've no idea.
I don't either. I don't want to look at it.
What time is it, UK, Nathan?
Right now, it's just gone 3 o'clock. 3 p.m.
3 p.m. UK. So that should be 10 a.m., I believe. Eastern. So for John, I think it's...
Nah, I'm in Central. Yeah, but won't the second show be running then?
No, so this show, the recording, because it's a Monday, as soon as I finish this recording, I'm going to pack up and go to a Spanish lesson. So this will go out as the late show. So it won't go out straight after the second live show, because there is no second live show on a Monday. It'll just go out as the late show on the second channel.
No, I'm talking about the second show tomorrow on Nathan Oakley 1980.
Well, they're both live, so they'll just go out as they would normally live.
Right, but what's the time frame that this show will go out in comparison with the two shows tomorrow?
Oh, I see what you mean. So because it's preceding it, it's going out before.
Yeah, so no.
Sorry, Spurs, I tried.
No, don't worry about it.
It's very exciting. You can spread the word, though. Tell the globe heads.
I'm wondering, is it circle? Is it square?
Circle.
Circle, square. You're cold.
Is it the Pac-Man?
It's not hung up on too many details.
Yeah.
All you need to know is it shows that it's flat.
It's going to be right in your face.
Exciting. They're very excited. Anyway, they're like, "Oh, what's this about the flat earthers? We've got a model and all that." And you know, they just I mean, for me, asking that question says a lot. The ball earther asks, like you guys who think they're Bundy, or how you describe them, zealots, things
Hold
like
on a
that.
sec. Can you just pop yourself on mute, Elijah, just when you're not talking? We're just getting a load of background noise from you.
Sure.
But I mean, when you actually, I don't know what it is. When you have a conversation and get them to prove something, you know, they concede. They say things like, okay, well, if it's not a globe, then what is it? How do you explain this? Then what about that? So in my mind, in their mind, it's triggered. Okay, so if it's not a globe, well, give us what it is then. And simply just because we can't give them what they want, you know, the answers, they just say it's easier for them to say, it's like an easy way out. They just say, okay, fine, forget it. I'll just stick with this. I'll just stay with the consensus. And, you know, that's like what Jose has done in my mind, is instead of just going with the argument and trying to be the minority and be ridiculed and called names, you know, he has a job, you know, he has a life, he's on, you know, he probably has in his mind, again, a different order of life where, you know, he wants certain respect and things like this. So it's easier. This is how I see it. It's a lot easier for these guys just to say, well, it's just a board, you know, not even know it. They're just, again, it's just easier to conform. So it's absolutely 100% psychological because the evidence is there. It's clear. It's obvious. You know, it's like what more water doesn't conform around a board, the exterior. Gravity is not a force. Everything that they have is questionable, yet they just fight against something. So for me, it's their peers, it's society, it's being called names. They really can't handle being called names. This is really funny. This is strange. This is like a, you know, you're a moron, you're an idiot. They just like, it's like, stop. It seems like something has happened where they cannot, you know, receive criticism of any kind.
Yeah, you know what that something is, though, right?
What?
Gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a force. That's what's changed.
Now,
if they all switched to flat Earth, like if the world, like tomorrow, was like, yeah, the Earth is flat, we were lying. All the people that denied it would just switch back. They would be like, oh well, yeah, it's flat, you know, and then they would just say make the same arguments. They're just going along with the wave. That's all. That's why it's very, you know. It's hard to talk.
Number one, that wouldn't happen because it would descend certain aspects of. like I say, you've got to listen to the Conspiracy Cat's interview with Haunted House, because he's explaining why he holds the position he does. It's out of fear. The contemplation that you'd been lied to on massive scales, multiple scales, is something that keeps them well and truly in check.
It sounds like Spurs wants to cure them.
Spurs wants to what?
Spurs wants to cure the Globetrotters. That's what it sounds like to me. See, this is what the problem is. You got willfully blind, fanatical religious zealotry, and it's dug in like an Alabama tick. So what you got to do is you got to get a whole bunch of people to hold them down, each one at a time, and you got to dig that shit out.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Hold on, sorry. It's not going to happen because when you try to compete with these ball earthers, this is what I've noticed as well, is that as soon as you turn this into a competition, even if you're right, they disagree just because they feel that competitive.
But it doesn't matter. We're right. It's like squeezing two M&Ms together. One is made of lies, one is made of truth. Eventually, you're just going to crush the lie one, and that's what we do. We just apply pressure. We keep squeezing every argument they make. We figure when they said you can't have gas pressure in a gradient in a container. You now can. Gravity is a force. It's now not. Like they are just losing ground slowly and surely, and eventually we just take it all. Like that's what we're doing.
Can I add to Nathan's point by reading something real quick? It said someone made this comment because everyone's always asking why lie. So I saved this because this is one of the best answers I've ever seen. So it reads like this. I took some astronomy classes in college and I took psychology. I'm 100% flat earther. Education is not true. Being taught something for 10 years and making $90K to teach it doesn't make it true. Keeping the lies going will keep the funding coming. And unfortunately, academia will continue to be a joke. Academia alone is the main reason they will never tell us the truth. You can ignore the spiritual side if you desire, but academia would be destroyed in many aspects. We would have chaos. Anyone who teaches astronomy, out on the streets. Any astrophysicist at universities, out on the streets. No more $90K check, universities, libraries gutted, and the books for the college classes tossed. Libraries would be in peril. The entire educational system for teachings of globe, space, astronomy, and so forth is basically destroyed by this truth. So shape doesn't matter? Need more for motive? Isn't that enough? Want more? How about NASA is finally shut down and the biggest court case ever would ensue? No more 58 million a day. No more green screen, harness videos and stories of water on other planets. No more fake tragedies. Every tragedy that happened would have to be accepted as fraud, etc., etc. Imagine the chaos of reaction from the American people. And it reads on just like that. And it makes perfect sense as to why because of these mechanisms that we put in place, no one can just throw all of that away.
Yeah, and you wouldn't want it to, because that dissension into chaos could have adverse effects in other areas. And it's not like science needs to be discounted, especially as we're currently trying to highlight the fact that the people we're fighting are pseudoscientists. So because they're being bundled in, the astrophysicists, with the actual scientists, it's like, well, would that actually be a big loss if they slowly faded into religious belief, which is what they are? Well, no. Would it affect much? Not really. It'd just mean that Neil deGrasse Tyson would be out of a job. And yeah, there'd be lots of astrophysicists on the streets without a 90K paycheck to lie to us. Yeah, NASA would disappear and we'd have a paradigm shift. But you can't have that happen too quickly. So in some ways, we're here as a slow release to peddle the information and let it be pushed back against to a certain degree as the arguments get unpicked. And then people come to a slower realization, which is a lot safer for the people in control, right? So I've often contemplated that we have a necessity. There's a kind of symbiotic relationship between us and the ballers. You know, if you're going to have the argument slowly crumble, you can't just have it split in two by a guy like Math Powerland. You know, revelation reaches the world because that chaos suddenly ensues. Well, they can't have that. So we are kind of like a slow simmer for the information. But persistence is definitely, you know, something that every time John's like, how many times have I got to say it? Well, probably 10. You know, over a long period of time, to the same people saying no until they say yes, to actual facts of reality, which is all we're dealing with. So our truth will prevail. The only detriment, that's why I asked what's in it for you, Spurs, is to you. if you let it affect you in a negative way. They are twisted, torn people. You know, a lot of these people are probably very depressed, and you know, you can get dragged down with them if you're not careful.
Well, look, I was just about to bring up a point there. I don't know if you remember, Anthony. This is how deep the psychological effect is, Nathan. If you remember Anthony, he wanted to go with a bigger ball, right? He was saying, well, let's have the Earth still curving. So there were some flat earthers who initially couldn't accept that it goes on and on and on and on and on, you know, plain, flat, level for as long as you like. Okay, so even, you know, that some people come around quicker than others. Okay, and they accept, okay, maybe it's not a bigger ball. Okay, and it is a flat plane. So for me, it doesn't matter what you know, evidence is provided. It has to be this psychological warfare has to be reversed. That's because when you tell somebody the Earth's not a globe, you've been lied to, the Earth's flat, that you blow their mind.
We've had this conversation already. I just totally disagree. You don't have to reverse anything. You just have to stop the predictive programming. So if there wasn't a sphere every 10 minutes on your TV screen, or every other billboard that you drive past has got a little sphere logo as part of it, or, you know, if all of that ended, people wouldn't be constantly being... You need to be constantly re-indoctrinated with a lie. And if that just stopped, there'd be no reversal process needed. People would quite happily accept the truth. Same applies to the ridicule, which is part of the mainstream narrative, to make it abundantly clear that we should be ridiculed if you believe the Earth is flat. So it's phrased in that way: belief, ridicule.
But what's stopping us from saying a bigger ball? Bigger, it's just bigger.
Because their ball is set in stone with their
that just makes it harder.
No, it's because it's set in stone. Their ball is a very fixed R value, and it's based on the celestial observations, which is where they derived it from in the first place. So you can't suddenly have a ball that's bigger. It doesn't work with the derivative values that they've come to get R in the first instance.
Wait, the story's already in. There are no takebacks.
Correct.
What are you talking about?
No, I'm just thinking of when, you know, I don't know, you know, there was some flat, you know, initially some wanted to go with maybe it's just a bigger ball.
Well, that's the journey. You can't really tell them, hey, this is what it is. You give them that kernel of truth, and they have to kind of seek it for themselves. So I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast.
Hold on one second. Sorry, I don't want to deviate off this subject. Hold on. No, Spurs. They derive the radius from the circumference they get when they look at the sun. So you're deriving a value. So unless you're going to just invent one, and as John's just pointed out, it's already absolutely set in stone anyway, but you can't just alter where you've derived a value from in the first instance. If you're going to presuppose a spherical radius and derive it from the trajectory that you presume a light in the sky is taking, then you're going to end up with a specific value, and that's what they have.
Well, hold on, because is Anthony here? Is he still here?
Just playing a game, like.
You know, that's why I'm not arguing anything here. I'm just saying.
Spurs, I'll tell you one thing, right? And I heard Riley say it a couple of times, and you know, it's one of those things I don't really mess with him with, because to me the bigger ball thing just doesn't make sense, because that still requires us to be sticking to a spinning ball flying around in a vacuum, and that requires a force that's not a force, but you can act like it's a force. And people underneath my feet, antipolar to me. See, all of that to me is just nonsense. No, to make it a bigger ball just makes it even worse.
I agree. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm simply saying that some people, okay, they accept, you know, okay, so this isn't, you know, they just want, it's about want. They want something to be not this, anything but this. You know, they want
that's the ridicule. So what I'm saying, Spurs, is if you stopped the ridicule aspect that is very prevalent and put into you from early on in schooling, oh, Philistines used to believe that the Earth was flat. Well, that's very loaded in its presentation in your schooling. That's how it's presented to you in the first instance. That the people who are thick very long time ago thought it was flat, obviously implying that we are more intelligent, and the people who presume that are worthy of ridicule. So if that stopped, then you wouldn't have that in the first instance to have to brace against, which is what you're describing.
Oh, I see. Let's see.
And to quickly make the point I was making earlier about Joe Rogan, well, it's not about Joe Rogan, but on one of his podcasts, Eddie Bravo was on there, and all he had to say for me was, all of the pictures are fake. That was my kernel of truth. It's not everyone's kernel of truth, but it was mine, because I started Googling, and I expected to have the fear of God in me when I saw the realness and the massiveness of our real Earth. And I didn't get that with the CGI. I just got the same thing I've always seen. It was a familiar thing to me, kind of like, because I know that it's the same thing I've been watching when I watch all of these movies and things like that. So it's that seed that you have to plant within them, but it has to be that right seed. Everybody's got a different set of beliefs in a way, and you just have to figure out what it is that's going to crush it for them. They have to then go on that 6-7 month journey, year journey, however long it takes, but they have to make that journey. You cannot tell it to them.
I mean, I actually found that out of my own volition well before Flat Earth, and then I remember discussing this with Mark Sargent because it was one of the points that he made. So he was looking for a nice graphic to put on a server of the Earth. So he did a Google search and very quickly found what we all now know. They're all fake. And there wasn't any. There was only the one that's claimed to come from the Apollo missions. That's a full, the blue marble. Not 20, whatever it is, 15 blue marble, but the blue marble. And other than that, that was the only imagery of Earth from space claimed to be from space. So I did that, I don't know, I think it was in 2006. I go by which computer I'd done it for. So I wanted a background graphic for my computer, similar to Mark Sargent. And did the Google search, found that they were all the same, just various orientations of exactly the same image, but just didn't put 2 and 2 together. So I went, oh, so there is no pictures of Earth from space. What I was actually looking for was slightly more advanced. What I wanted was like weather patterns, like of Earth, so I could see the weather pattern. I thought, well, there's obviously got to be that out there. How dumb was I at the time? But after I'd realised that there wasn't, it wasn't that I suddenly went, oh, click. Yeah, but I absolutely realised there was lots of fake images of Earth from space, having searched for real images and not found them, and not just gone, oh, well, that must mean that they're all, that there isn't any because it's fake. You just don't put that together. But when someone like Joe Rogan says it is fake, and then you look into it, you've got that kind of mindset when you're first looking, rather than going, oh, there's only fake pictures of Earth from space. Oh, well, I guess I'll have something else as my backdrop. That's all I thought.
A correction, because I don't want to give it any credit to Joe Rogan in this regard, because he's totally opposed to it. It was actually Eddie Bravo.
Oh, I like Eddie Bravo. He gave me a shout out on a tweet.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. It gave me about 150 or 200 subscribers from memory, maybe even more. I think it was about 250 subscribers from one tweet from Mr. Bravo.
Well, this panel is a big educational tool, because it's not that I have to listen to you guys, but you guys are very good at getting citations and pointing people in the right direction. I appreciate John for that. I know we had a love fest for John the other day, but it's things like that that help people who are seeking truth find it.
I want to thank my mom for having me. There's just so many people.
You want to thank the Academy?
The Academy, yes, for sure.
Don't forget the agency.
Time has come
and
today.
I don't need now help the rest of you out. You guys all do great work. You all do great work, by the way.
Yeah, that's just garbage. I'm not having that. That's an afterthought. I know what you mean. No, all credit to John.
Well, thank you, Elijah. I think we all
Right, what are you
that.
doing taking that credit?
Hey, stepping all over me when I'm not even
Thank
talking.
you, Chocolate, for taking John's credit.
I like how
Hey,
Chocolate was the first on that
nobody said
bandwagon.
anything, so hey, I got to be nice to the guy, right?
At least I try and hijack his points and make them seem like they're mine.
It's all right. I have to do my vanilla due diligence and talk over him. So
Someone tried to take him yesterday during the debate. That was hilarious, right? If you watch the end of that debate you were talking about, if you watch it right to the end, you'll see the video that we did on Conspiracy Cats. It'll be sitting right there. I'm saying, my God, man. At least take it off. Don't be so overt about it. But it was pretty funny. You guys don't know what I'm talking about, right?
As we improve.
Hold on a second.
Why?
You guys don't know what I'm talking about, right?
No, I haven't got a Vegas clue, but I didn't want to seem stupid.
Yeah, watch the debate yesterday between Nathan and Conspiracy Cats. Watch towards the end, past when they're talking, they're giving all the acknowledgments and stuff. It's right towards the end, and before his computer goes offline, he screen shares, and then you'll see the Conspiracy Cats video we did the other day, sitting right there.
I see. So he's been recently watching our little video where we take apart his nonsense in great detail. And by I mean completely mine.
Wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But at least take it down off your screen. Yeah, because he had the same. His first point was against what Conspiracy Cat said concerning the thermodynamics doesn't have anything to do with matter, just energy. Right? That was his first point. Of course, they got off that point. But yeah, check out towards the end, man. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I had to tune in because everything went tits up with YouTube yesterday.
Well, it was the same thing over there because Nathan asked to try and support in the chat and everything with points and everything, but I couldn't get onto the chat. The live chat was acting screwy. It wouldn't load. Then the video wouldn't load. It was crazy.
Yeah, and did everyone notice the way that debate went? They took a little bit of advice, right? Even though it was a tear-jerking belly laugher, I'm talking about the format of the debate, where it was claim, support, then rebuttal. And then claim, support, then rebuttal. Did you guys notice that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, people were listening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed it.
Yeah, it was something that rubbed me the wrong way about it because I just felt like Cats had way too much space to talk his nonsense. It was a point where Nathan asked him for science, and then he ridiculed Nathan for being so narrow-minded, and then began to explain to him the sciences of what he was talking about. It was so absurd to me.
Yeah, well, he did a lot of ridiculing, did a bit of pandering to the audience. It was just kind of funny. No real science, though. Not demonstrating anything like Nathan asked him to, because obviously he can't, but,
Yeah, there's an element to what you guys do here because you can't let them run crazy. I see why now. I see why you're so adamant about not letting them run wild because that's what happens right there. And as an audience, like I don't feel like I got anything out of it,
Like I say, I wouldn't know. I only tuned in to see what the issue was with YouTube because I was like, how come Simon Dan's live, bastard? Why hasn't his computer gone wrong? Everyone in America's had their computer go wrong. They can't sign in.
Oh yeah, it was terrible over here, man. It was real bad. It's the first time I ever seen that happen.
Yeah.
Do you think it's something going on, like something like a conspiracy?
Oh, definitely, it's the CIA and all the shills at YouTube.
Because I saw all the Globers in the chat, and I mean, they were at full force.
Force, you say?
There's this song, you guys have to look it up. It's by Donald Trump himself. Not really, somebody like kind of spliced it all together, things that he said, and made a song out of it. It's called Space Force. It's amazing.
Nah, that's not the song, man. It's the Chambers Brothers. Time.
Okay.
It's got cowbell, man. Literally.
Why?
Time has come today.
That's how we're getting. The first time I'm going to say this, and probably the last. No, we do actually need to hear you sing the rest of it for us to know why it's got cowbell.
Well, it's got cowbell right at the start of the song, right? That's what it starts out with. The tick, 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 tick. You guys don't know that song?
No.
My word, man. You got no heart. You got no soul. You got to get with the times, man. Time.
Okay. What's the song title and artist? So we can look it up.
It's Chambers Brothers. Time has come today.
Chambers Brothers. Time has come today. Okay.
Yeah, man.
So,
Nathan,
Nathan, did you say?
No one knows. Hold on a second. No one knows that song on this panel.
I'll be honest, I don't know.
You don't see. That's the problem with flat Earth, man.
Want to hear the lyrics? Time has come today. Young hearts can go their way. Can't put it off another day. I don't care what others say. They think we don't listen anyway. Time has come today. Hey.
It's got a little bit more heart than that, brother. Let me tell you.
You want the rest? Oh, the rules have changed today. Hey. I have no place to stay. Hey. I'm thinking about the subway. Hey. My love has flown away. Hey. My tears have come and gone. Hey. Oh, my lord. I have to roam. Hey. I have no home. Hey. I have no home. Hey.
Just stop ruining it.
Excellent.
Wow.
Hey, come on, dude. You got to turn on. Don't let Nathan sway you here.
Right. Well, what I'm going to do is I'll skip the hook and I'm going to go straight to the bridge because it's absolutely timeless. Do you want to hear the bridge?
Hey.
No. It's better than that. The bridge
Oh wait,
is...
I have heard this song. Yeah.
It goes as follows. Time. 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 Now there's a bridge of champions right there.
I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I'm just thinking about the next time to throw you right under the bus, man.
Oh, you bastard. Sorry, I didn't realise this was that bad. It's just reading. It's just literacy, right? Where's Paula when you need her?
So, real quick, Nathan, did you say MG42 pillbox? Is that where I would find the video?
Yes, but tread with care, with caution.
Always. It's a
no. I'm only joking. Pillbox is awesome.
I'm
just joking. Pillbox is awesome.
Nice.
He's just he's a bit like John and myself in many more ways than one.
Oh, no problems then. You kind of like I was just thinking about something the other day when I was just like, you know what, when you're speaking to people, you kind of have to envision yourself taking out the entire ego to start sifting through information, because it's always there regardless of what people say. So once you take the ego out, you start to listen for the information. You don't need all of that extra crap. I think we're all given the ability to do that. We just ignore it.
Just take no prisoners, man. Don't request quarter, and none shall be given.
Yeah, but then you're asking for war, John. And if you want war, they're ready to give a war, right? They're ready just to say not.
Nothing.
So hold on, before we get into the singing. No, Spurs. You need to recognise what's happening. They have a war on your senses, and I'm saying that just needs to stop. Now, defending yourself against a constant onslaught of nonsense is not declaring war.
No, I'm saying that Holden, yeah, I think now we're in a position. Things have changed.
It's actually the opposite, Spurs. The fact that we have been lied to all of our lives, that's a war declared on us, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Because look, if we don't live on a ball, right? If that's not the case, and I've had a planet's a solar system, put in my face my entire life. I mean, that's a blatant lie placed into my brain, into my life.
Right.
And I take that seriously.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's why I'm kind of a bit short with you, Spurs, because it's a fucking outrage.
Of course. But, we're not, again, talking with the zealots, they obviously have been brainwashed more than others. Speaking with public one-on-one, you'll get that understanding. Yeah, I can't demonstrate yet. But what will happen is they will just follow the consensus. What I think we need to show that person doesn't need to follow the consensus, that they can figure these things out for themselves. People are afraid to figure things out for themselves. They don't trust themselves, do they? They're like, oh, well, maybe some scientists will tell me the answer. People do it with Flat Earth. They want, us guys to tell them the answer. And it's like, no. Find out for yourself. Research for yourself.
Well, the consensus is just wrong. And the thing about it is, here's a plug to Jaronism's channel. That video with the quotes that tell us we've all been lied to, I mean, that's countless scientists basically telling you right there that we don't have proof for a globe. So once you start to show people that scientists don't say that we have science, it'll begin to sink in a little bit.
Yeah, it's getting your head around it, of course. That's
yeah, because you know they're not reading those quotes out to the little kids in school, right? Obviously not. Right? Nobody's telling the kids about when as they're telling them about gravity, that Newton himself wanted to steer clear away from that. They don't tell them that.
Right. They say, oh, then Einstein, his best friend, came along and helped him out. That's how, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know, Nathan. Why? The question you asked me, what's in it for me? What's in it? Why do you bother telling people they've been lied to? Why do you bother outlaying the lie? Is there a hope? Are you just doing it just because you feel you understand it, so you just want to tell others? Is it? Is there a reason behind it? So is there a point?
You could just say what's in it.
Unless we're going to change, society, the education. The idea I thought was that young people are being lied to. And
I'm interested in knowing how you got to Flat Earth.
Me?
Yeah.
Years ago.
But what was it?
Just observations. Mainly the ball earth. That my reliance was on the ball earthers proving it. That's how I came. My understanding was somebody will show it's a globe. Somebody will show that space. It has to be.
Sorry about the interruption, Nathan. Do you got people on Discord listening? Hello?
Yeah, I think he's on Discord.
Maybe he took a break.
Discord.
Maybe he took a break. Was people on Discord in the show today?
Yeah. Right the hand.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's Elijah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arwen?
Hey, you're the one making noise with the wind.
Yeah, just need to be a bit more.
Sorry about that.
Oh, there he is. There, Nathan. Do you have Discord?
Yes.
People on Discord? Yeah.
Yes.
Are they able to talk?
As far as I'm aware.
Who's in there?
Loads.
They're flashing, but I can't hear any sound from them.
Huh. Yes, a little birdie just gave me a tweet that there was to get those guys involved.
Yeah, I can see Jessica's name flashing, but I can't hear her speaking.
Is it a problem like the other day?
Could be. I'll just see if I can figure out what's wrong.
I'll go in there and do a radio check real quick. Give me a second.
All right.
Elijah, do you see the back chat?
One sec. Is that the little box on the side? The group chat?
No, it's in Google Hangouts.
Okay. Yeah, that chat. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
So I had to come in and out of the page, so it just refreshed for me, and I don't have anything that we were talking about prior to.
Okay.
So I don't.
Good.
Yeah, I can't type in it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Should I click that right there now, or?
Yeah. Then you should see the back chat. Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Can you say something, Chocolate? No sound from Discord. Second time this has happened. Refresh Discord. Try again, Chocolate.
Sorry, this is one of my. This is the second show I've ever been on, so I really don't know how any of this stuff works.
Hey, hold on a second, Elijah.
Schemo, stop talking about the freaking back chat in public. We don't want to give the trolls more instructions.
Arwin, Chocolate saying, can you hear us? Can you say something? No, nothing. Okay, thanks. I'll have to figure out why that's being an issue.
Do I have to download?
Hold on.
Actual Hangout.
Hold on.
For back. Sorry.
Okay, so the weird thing is I can hear you in the Discord, but when I spoke, nobody can hear me.
Yeah, but
and I did while I was in there. One of the Globers said something, and I could hear him, but I don't think he could hear me.
Well, I've just seen the lights flashing for Discord, so I just want someone else in Discord to just say something again.
Nathan, have you looked through the
Arwin, for the love of
channels?
fuck,
Isn't it like
shut
YouTube
up!
exactly?
If you are in the Hangout, shut up. Can someone in Discord for the third time try and talk to me?
Testing, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we do. Thank you very much. The Hangout shut up just long enough for me to establish that it is now working. It just needed to be refreshed, so that's
And Chocolate
just
is on Devon, so...
Chocolate's on blacklist.
Does Betty hear me then?
No, Chocolate's on deafen, not blacklist.
I didn't hear what she said. Deafen. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, it's because it's in both the Hangout and the Discord server. Okay, my bad. Sorry for snapping at the people in the Hangout. Arwin, feel free to carry on. You can all hear each other.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
Oh, I knew it. Martyrdom ensues.
Everybody can interrupt, but then when I interrupt, that's when you start yelling.
Coincidence.
Well, yeah.
It's coincidence.
It's coincidence.
Arwin, it's because you're like the little brother. You're like the little...
Arwin's older than me.
Hey, little guy.
Yeah, even though we're exactly the same age.
No, you're older.
Make no mistake. I love you, Arwin. I do. You might have seen a message from me the other day, but nothing I say is out of just straight up hate. I absolutely love you, man.
Well, okay, thanks. Yeah. Sometimes in chat, it's hard to read like hilarious sarcasm when you're not literally there yet and you don't know exactly who you're reading into. You know, those trolls get really nutty.
Speaking of hashtag same team, Arwin, did you find that video of Roofy yet?
Nope.
You're after
Sorry, I haven't kept a database of every baller accord on my show.
So
and I think it was a very short segment anyway.
So you got the same categorizing system as Nathan, is what you're saying?
None.
Yeah.
Let me ask you another question. Did you look for the video with Rufy?
I did look for it. I hope that I hadn't put a Ruhif into the title, but apparently I haven't. So even though he's been on it like twice, but it would always be with other people, and he would always pop in at the last moment. So,
well, does Discord hear us? Can they hear us?
Yes, they can now. I'll just have to remember each show to refresh. I just leave Discord up so that I don't have to restart messing around with the scene selection in OBS. I just leave it as a tab. Well, unfortunately, that craps it out if presumably the PC goes to sleep or something. So I have to refresh it each day. It's new. It's just one of those things. Yes, they can hear you. To answer your question, they can hear you. You can hear them.
Okay, so Zinder is there. I can see Zinder. Is he?
Yeah, I can speak now. Like, I was muted for a long time, but it seems like after a time, people got unmuted.
So Zinder, you know, I was saying earlier on about evidence. It doesn't matter what evidence is provided because you know you see a flat plane, but for you this is not enough, right? So you know, do you agree or disagree that it's psychology, or do you think there is evidence for flat Earth that you would accept?
I actually, before the show started, I looked a little bit into airplanes and flights, and then I made some maths on a flight from Santiago de Chile to New York in city, and I found something really strange because I put in the Earth's rotation from the globe Earth, and when you start from Santiago de Chile, you have to pass the equator on the globe Earth. So you are going to have a speed difference of 78 meters per second, which
Hold on. Someone's serious ASMR out with that typing.
Is that Arwen?
Yeah, what's up with the typing?
Damn it, stupid mute button. Sorry,
Great
guys.
ASMR.
Anyway, I found that in order to get there, the pilot has to counter a deflection of 1,200 kilometers to the equator, and from the equator to get to New York, he has to counter a deflection of 2,000 kilometers.
Okay,
So,
conclusions in there.
so they would have to fly a curve, which doesn't happen because of airplanes, they fly straight, right?
Zinder, what's the conclusion? What's the conclusion here?
So either the flight companies are lying or the Earth isn't rotating.
Are you talking about Coriolis?
Well, that's like I don't think that's labeled as Coriolis, the apparent deflection. Coriolis would be something else. What I'm talking about, it could be considered as Coriolis, but it isn't really Coriolis. It is so it is labeled as something else.
What the hell, double speak? You should be a politician. Is George Musser your brother?
It's not Coriolis we're talking about, not an apparent deflection, but I think what we're describing here is Coriolis.
Yeah, nice one, Zinder.
Nice double speak. And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who have joined us in the Nathan Oakley premiering stream for tuning in, hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, and of course subscribing if you didn't realise that you're watching this on the second channel. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!